You're listening to an Airwave Media Podcast.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become?
Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Everyone knows therapy is great for solving problems, but getting therapy has its own problems too, like finding the right therapist, fitting into their schedule, and of course, the cost. Well, BetterHelp can solve those problems. It's totally online and built around your schedule. It's surprisingly affordable too. Connect with a credentialed therapist by phone, video, or online chat, all from the comfort of your home. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% on your first month. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P.
Recorded in Chicago, Illinois, with your hosts, Ken, Matt, Neal, and Jeff. This is Triviality.
Hello and welcome to Triviality, the game where a lack of seriousness meets a little bit of knowledge. My name is Neal. I'm here in the studio next to Jeff. How are you, Jeff?
I am doing very well, Neal. It's a Monday night game. My favorite.
It is your favorite. You often do say that even when it's not Monday, but I'm glad you're here and you're enjoying yourself today. Ken, you're sitting across from me. How are you doing today?
I'm good. That intro was very business-like. I don't know if our listeners realize it, but I've sat across from you for a long time, listened to a lot of intros. Today's was extra on point.
Well, I've actually begun my journey as a pharmaceutical rep. The suitcase in the corner is where the pharmaceuticals are. They're all of my own pharmaceuticals.
Pharmaceuticals with you?
I do bring them everywhere, and they're not just supplied to me.
For taste test?
For taste testing, and they're not supplied to me by the companies. They're just for my own personal collection.
Okay.
So I open up an overcoat, and I say, what do you need and how many milligrams, etc.
I just wish you were wearing something under the overcoat. That's why it's called an overcoat.
That's true. Well, my thinking is I was told by a very great businessman, the Wolf of Wall Street, when I paid for a seminar, that if you try to sell someone something nude, they're going to buy it because they just want to get away from you.
Okay.
Yeah. Jordan Belfort. And Matt is not here.
Actual quote.
Sell me this medication, but do it when you're not nude. Matt is not here today. He's actually off to Pasadena. He's trying to audition for the role of Dogberry in Much Ado About Nothing in a community theater production. So we wish him the best of luck on that. But we have a very special guest in his place. Speaking of Shakespeare, I'll let him talk about that in a minute. He's coming to us from New York, and I do want to highlight two things. The first thing is he wrote us an email when he first started listening to the podcast, and it's something that we actually implemented from the moment we got his email up until now, which is he said, could you introduce each other at the beginning of each episode for those of us who can't tell your voices apart. And so that's why we've been doing it. And I think it's been a massive success. And the second thing I wanted to highlight is he is a great author, and I'm a big fan of his work, and I'll let him talk about that. And that is Erik Didriksen. How's it going, Erik?
It's going well. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for that wonderful suggestion.
I assume that there has to be at least one other person who couldn't tell John from Paul from George when they first started listening to the Beatles. So take no offense.
They really couldn't.
Why don't you tell us?
The same to me.
So you've got two good impressions today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and that book I was talking about?
I live in New York. I'm a software engineer by day and wrote a book a number of years ago called Pop Sonnets, where I took pop songs and turned them into Shakespearean sonnets.
And it's very entertaining. I think we even had a host on the show, maybe Emily. She actually asked a question about it without knowing that Erik listened to the show. She asked a Pop Sonnets question.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and then when we told her afterwards, oh, we know Erik, he's a patron, she lost her mind.
Yeah.
So, yeah, thank you for being here, Erik, and also for
She's okay now.
Well, yeah, she's okay.
Yeah, she found it. Don't worry.
She got over it in about an hour.
Yeah. Thank you for supporting us on Patreon at the Oakland 5 level and for being on the show today. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Our special guest host today is returning with a vengeance, or I suppose if it's in the Die Hard universe, he is hosting harder, hosting two harder. I guess he's coming to us from Pittsburgh, and he is a Dutch enthusiast on Patreon, which we appreciate, and keeping us honest with our Dutch heritage, and that is David Fudor. How's it going, David?
Hi, Neal. Going great. Super excited to be back for my second time. It was a real pleasure to host the game. The first time, I certainly told a lot of people about it. And then when the episode dropped, I said, well, I'm on the Triviality podcast. And they said, are you the moist maker? I was like, well, maybe I have to ask for editorial control over my episode titles, but I can't even imagine with the Die Harder title on that intro. So I'm not sure what this is going to be titled, but I am super excited to be back.
All right. I'll make sure it's really bad.
I forgot his episode was the Moist Maker one. I think that was my call.
David 2, even moister.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
The Moister Maker.
I know people hate the word moist, but I mean, if you think of it in terms of pastry, you want a moist pastry.
I think half of our listeners have turned it off based on the amount of times we said the M word already.
That's true. That's okay. I mean, they were just missing out. It looks like, Jeff, you and I are going to be a team today.
Yes.
And we came up with a team name, and I'll let you talk about it because you've recently...
I'm a convert.
Yeah, you're a convert.
Yes. So Neal was talking at length, probably for much of the second half of last year, about how Dua Lipa's new album was so great, and he's listening to it all the time.
He maybe mentioned it once.
Yeah, once or twice. And then I ended up pretty much binging it for the last few days.
Don't blame Neal for this.
Especially at work, because spreadsheets are boring. I don't know if you know that or not, but... So, yes, I do like the album. I think it's quite good. And in honor of that, we are going to be what, Neal?
We're going to be the Saturday morning news program Levitating with Lipa.
Okay. We're going to be the Sunday morning news program, me and Erik, that is. And we're going to be Sundays with Sufjan, for Sufjan Stevens.
All right. So
I think also released an album recently.
So 2 very different morning shows, different tone, everything.
Yeah, Sufjan's is very chill.
Right. It's just kind of like, hey, look at the waves, the clouds, that kind of thing. I don't know anything about Sufjan Stevens.
Except for that one period when he went like heavy electronic.
That's the traffic break.
Yeah.
It's very electronic. We have our team set. Erik, you are our guest today. Any preference on the rules read?
Let's go classic.
All right. Classic's been super popular lately.
If we ever want to use any of these alternates, we got to stop asking people what they want.
That's true.
Classic takes the cake.
Well, here's the special part. Erik doesn't know which one we're going to put in yet, so it could be classic. It might not be classic. So we'll see what happens when the episode's released.
De regels van het spel zijn simpel. 20 vragen verdeeld over 2 rondes, waarbij elke vraag 10 punten waard is. Halverwege is er een speciale swingronde, ontworpen door de host van deze week. Na deze rondes beginnen de spelers aan de finale, met de punten die ze hebben verdiend. En hebben ze de mogelijkheid om 0 tot 30 punten in te zetten op 5 gecategoriseerde vragen. Aan het eind van het spel wordt iemand benoemd tot the cream of the crop.
I am the cream of the crop, and don't forget it, Dutch boy.
What did you think of that, Erik, even though you have no prior knowledge of which one was played?
Stunning.
There you go.
The enunciation is just immaculate.
Awesome.
That means I have to put the Dutch one in, doesn't it?
Technically, it is a classic rules reading.
It is
just
classic.
in Dutch.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we know who the teams are. We know what the rules are. David, feel free to take it away and host this sequel.
Okay, let's go. Round 1, question 1. The category is the Olympics. At the 1976 Summer Olympics, Nadia Comaneci became the first gymnast to ever score a perfect 10 in Olympic competition. In what specific gymnastics event did she score the first 10?
All right. Erik, I'm about 60 or 70% sure. So let's go ahead and lock in if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Okay, Jeff. So I believe the event that had the perfect 10 was at least one of them, maybe it's all of the gymnastic events, where they have to land and then their arms go up in the air. You know, everyone claps and it's the really perfect landing. And
that happens occasionally.
Happens occasionally in gymnastics. So I feel like it's either vault, which is I think you run and then you hit that springboard and you do the flip, or beam of her doing a bunch of flips and then landing.
So you get hit with a beam.
You're right.
Well, you also have the uneven bars, and often when you dismount, you'd want to do that landing thing where you throw your arms up.
And I apologize because me saying where they have to stick a landing, I think is like every gymnastics event, so that makes me sound really stupid.
Except for maybe like the ribbon stuff. I don't think they have to stick a landing there.
That was my category, the ribbon dance. Imagine this though, Michael Flaherty doing a ribbon river dance.
I knew you were going that way. I was like,
I want to say I'm leaning towards Beam because I feel like it's really difficult.
Okay.
I could be wrong. You want to just go with Beam?
Yeah, we can go Beam.
And we picked one that's a lot shorter and is difficult, but a lot less margin for error maybe. And we said Vault because you just have to do one perfect trick.
Unfortunately, no points going out that round, although the correct answer was said. It was the uneven bars.
Oh, no way.
It was the uneven bars.
I would have thought that one was probably a lot harder to achieve. But
yeah,
I'm wrong.
That's what makes it so special.
Yeah.
All right, round 1, question 2. The category is comedians. In 2004, Comedy Central released a list of their top 100 stand-ups of all time. While many on the list are now known more for acting than for stand-up, this performer, who ranked 4th all time, is now arguably known best for directing. Name him. And for 2 bonus points, can you give me numbers 1, 2, 3 in any order?
All right, we threw some names out. The director angle is really throwing us off, but we're going to take a guess.
Okay, Eric, any initial thoughts on this?
So I'm really struggling to think of any stand-up comics that have gone over into directing. The only ones I can think of are Rob Reiner, who isn't nearly big enough in the stand-up world to be number 4. The only one I can think of, and it makes sense that they put him there in 2004 and probably not so much today, would be Woody Allen.
Is he a stand-up too?
Yeah, he did a lot of, that's how he initially made his bones.
I was thinking Mel Brooks maybe. Is Mel Brooks a stand-up?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't think of him as a stand-up, but he did a bunch of like sketchy stuff with Carl Reiner, but that makes a lot of sense.
Maybe way back in the day he did stand-up and we just don't remember it. And then for the bonus, I just wrote down George Carlin, Dave Chappelle, Richard Pryor, and there's another guy who's always brought up. I think his name is Bill, not Bill Burr. He's dead.
No respect.
I think Pryor and Carlin I definitely had as probably 1 and 2. Other people I was spitballing was Steve Martin, Eddie Murphy, Lenny Bruce.
I'm good with I'm really good with anything here because I think it's kind of a toss-up. So
definitely Pryor and Carlin. We had those as an overlap. I'm thinking maybe Murphy or Martin just because they were the first few to really sell out stadiums.
Okay. So let's say Carlin, Pryor, and Steve Martin. And then what did you want to go with the top answer? Woody Allen or Mel Brooks?
I'm kind of inclined to go with Brooks.
Okay. Mel Brooks.
All right. For our 3 bonuses, I'll start there. I'll let Jeff take the number 4. We just thought Lenny Bruce, very famously exiled for free speech at one point, and a lot of people, regard him as the tip top. And then Pryor and Robin Williams are our 3 guesses. And then Jeff, what about for number 4?
Yeah, the only one we know that really successfully transitioned to being a director after doing stand-up was Judd Apatow. Now, we think that might be a little early, but we guessed Judd Apatow.
Well, that was a good discussion. Eric had it and kind of got talked out of it a little bit. The answer was Woody Allen.
All good.
And then on the bonus answers, number 1 all time was Richard Pryor. Number 2 all time was George Carlin. Number 3 was Lenny Bruce.
And the guy I was thinking of, whose name is Bill Hicks.
Yes. No points on that one. All the names were said, just not quite in the right order. And Eric did pick up on the year might have been the clue there, because I don't think that list would be the same today, for sure.
Yeah.
So round 1, question 3, video games. So while Michael Jordan was notoriously reluctant to have his likeness in video games in the 1990s in games such as NBA Jam, name either of the 2 other NBA Hall of Famers, which were available as players in the arcade version of NBA Jam, who later removed their likenesses for future console versions.
All right, we have a decent guess here. We're going to lock in.
Yeah, I've played the game a little bit. I know Pippen and Horace Grant are available as the Bulls, but I'm not really good with the lineups. So, yeah, you kind of messaged me and you said maybe we should just pick some big names and pray.
Other than, like, I don't know, Magic Johnson or Larry Bird, I wouldn't have the...
I think it's
don't have a good in on this.
Too late for Larry Bird, maybe. Oh, we could say Larry Bird.
Okay. So the names we discussed, Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, and Shaq. We put Shaq on there because he's very good at marketing himself, and he had a bunch of video games like Shaq Fu and his rap albums and stuff. So maybe he decided I'm going to take my name off of it to make my own money. So between those three, Jeff, what did you feel the best about?
I kind of like Shaq.
All right. So we locked in with Shaq.
Well, points are finally going out in that question, and they're going out for Shaquille O'Neal, who, like you said, had his own video games. The other answer was also said by Levitating with Lipo, was Charles Barkley. So they both had sort of knockoff video games that they wanted their likenesses pulled.
Okay.
It's a good job. All right, round one, question 4. The category is anatomy. The Snellen chart, spelled Snellen, is a medical tool used most frequently to test the function of which bodily organ?
I think I've got this one, Ken.
Okay, you looked excited.
So
Getting excited over charts is Jeff's business.
Yeah, but when we're talking about the Snellen, all bets are off. Give me like 3 organs.
Liver.
Okay. And he said it was a test, right?
Yes.
I don't, yeah, I mean, it has to be one of those random organs because, like, I feel like I would know it if it's from something else, like a liver, pancreas, maybe.
Is it a skin test?
Oh, it could be.
For some kind of maybe like skin elasticity or something.
Okay.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I like, I mean, skin is an organ. It's always like trivia fodder to use the skin as like a trick question because it is an organ. So, do you want to go skin?
Sure. Let's do it.
All right, Eric was practically pumping his fist over there with excitement. So, why don't you take it away?
Sure. I believe that this is the classic eye chart where the letters start big at the top and get smaller as it goes down.
Yeah, they keep getting blurrier as they go down, right?
Well, it is not the Snellen chart for the nose. It is the Snellen chart for the eye. Good job, Eric.
I wish I would have figured that out. I walk past one every day.
Now you know. Round 1, question 5. The category is awards. While never nominated for an Oscar, Jim Carrey has won multiple Golden Globe Awards. But for which film did Jim Carrey win his only Golden Globe for Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama?
Probably not the number 23.
No.
Definitely not the number 23. I know which ones he won the Golden Globe for. I'm just trying to remember which one they would have named Motion Picture Musical Comedy, even though one of them was clearly a drama, even though it had comedy in it. We can lock in. I'll decide.
Okay.
Okay, so you got The Majestic, you got Man on the Moon, you got Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine. Those are kind of his tour de forces, I would say. I would pick between Man on the Moon and Eternal Sunshine, and I'm inclined to think it's Man on the Moon.
My initial thoughts were between Eternal Sunshine and Truman Show, but I had completely forgotten about Man on the Moon.
I remember there's a lot of hype for him for Man on the Moon. There's a lot of hype around Eternal Sunshine, the movie, but the acting hype for Man on the Moon was real, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. I feel like he did, because to Neal's point, I think he won for Truman Show, but I think that based on the squishiness of the question, that probably makes sense that would have been marked down as not a drama. So yeah, let's go with Man on the Moon.
Okay.
Yeah, we had a similar conversation. I know he won for Man on the Moon. I'm pretty sure he won for The Truman Show. I think it was a snub that he didn't win for Eternal Sunshine, and he probably should have been nominated for an Oscar for that one. And I cannot remember for the life of me what category, like Eric was saying, it was under. So we went Man on the Moon too, but it's probably going to bite me in the ass. So
2 Men on the Moon.
2 Men on the Moon. So Jim Carrey has won 2 Golden Globes, one for The Man on the Moon, one for The Truman Show. The Hollywood Foreign Press considers The Truman Show to be a drama. The answer was The Truman Show.
Who are you talking to?
I'm right here.
There's nobody here.
Would you like to try some rich Ovaltine? That movie's so good. After rewatching it too, it's so relevant as well. Speaking of Jim Carrey, a little side question. A lot of people think he didn't get nominated for an Oscar because he wouldn't send gift baskets to people to influence their decision. He refused because he said, "I don't want to win an award in a popularity contest. I want to win for my talent."
All right, after 5 questions, looks like we're tied up at 10, right?
Yeah.
Okay. And the scores could be higher. The right answers are being said, just not quite getting there. So let's hope that changes. Round 1, question 6. Category is books. In the last decade, James Andrew Miller has found success authoring comprehensive oral histories on 3 different subjects from both entertainment and media. Name any one of these 3 subjects, and 2 bonus points if you can get either of the other 2.
Trying to think of oral history stuff, pop culture stuff that's been big in the last decade. I can think of 2 that sort of make sense, but I'm not sure I can come up with 3, and I'm not sure which one I'd put first.
Just go with whatever you think, because I don't know where to begin on this question.
Okay, so I don't know the name of the author, and I was trying to think of comprehensive books. There was one book that I really wanted to read, and I haven't gotten to yet, and it was about DreamWorks SKG, which was Steven Spielberg, Jeffrey Katzenberg, and David Geffen, and about how they formed and then how they ended up eventually broke up. I think it was something called like We Were Kings or something like that, because they were the first non-major studio to be created and to be successful for at least a while. So that's my guess, would be DreamWorks, the rise and fall. And as far as another guess, maybe the creation of the MCU. I don't know.
Yep. And for us, we were the only things that sprang to mind were oral histories of Saturday Night Live and Sesame Street.
So Eric, which is your guess for 10 points?
Saturday Night Live.
Okay, I'm glad you said that. That Saturday Night Live is one of the 3. That one was called, I believe, Live from New York. He also wrote a comprehensive oral history on ESPN called These Guys Have All the Fun. And then the most recent book was regarding the founding of the Creative Arts Agency, or CAA.
Oh, wow.
And I believe he has another book coming out on HBO. So these are great books. They're just, really sort of fun to read. The Saturday Night Live one, I think, caused some controversy, and the ESPN one was really interesting too.
Cool.
All right, next questions. Round 1, question 7. Speaking of Saturday Night Live, Seth Meyers was the last SNL cast member who hosted Weekend Update solo for 4 seasons from 2009 to 2013. Prior to Seth Meyers, who was the previous cast member who had hosted Weekend Update solo for an entire season?
I remember Colin Quinn did it for a long time.
How long did Norm Macdonald do it?
This person did it for 2 seasons. So, but my question was who, because I think there might have been like random episodes here and there where there might not have had a partner, but this person hosted it for an entire season solo.
Got it.
Could it be Colin Quinn?
I know he did it solo, though. I wasn't sure about the ordering on him and McDonald, though I assumed Quinn was after.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I feel pretty good about that.
All right, we'll say Colin Quinn.
Yeah, Colin Quinn was not one of the ones we discussed, although we did have Norm Macdonald. We knew did it. We knew Kevin Nealon did it on his own. And we think the most recent one was Dennis Miller.
Well, Jeff, you had the 3 hosts in opposite order from furthest to most recent who had done it solo, but you're missing one name, and that name is Remote Control's own Colin Quinn, who hosted it for 2 seasons. So points to Eric.
That was all in the 90s, wasn't it?
I can't believe that was only 2 seasons. I was like a lot younger then, so it seemed like he was on there forever.
Yeah, I remember.
I think he picked it up about halfway. I think Norm might have quit in the middle of one season, so it might have been like 2.5 or something like that.
Huh.
So great job, though. All right, round 1, question 8. The category is Star Wars. In the original Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, other than the title, what 2 words in the opening crawl are the only words in all capital letters?
Well, we're going to go ahead and lock in. We just texted each other the same thing.
So in a galaxy far, far away is just the one title dot with the ellipses. Then it's the crawl. And then it's like, these are always the most boring part, too. In a Galactic Federation, taxes are being argued.
Don't get me started about the first, 40 minutes of Star Wars. Holy
That good, huh?
Do you know what word it is then? I mean,
Well, it's 2 words.
Uh-huh.
So I'm just trying to think of 2-word things that they would want to do in Star Wars. So, the Rebel Alliance is 3. The Empire.
Oh, that maybe the Empire. Yeah.
Death Star.
The Empire makes sense. I mean, that is the big bad.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or Emperor Palpatine. Yeah, how about, what do you think between Emperor Palpatine, the Empire, and, yeah, that's all I get. I don't know.
We can go with the Empire.
Okay. That's our answer.
Erik?
I don't think it's the big bad of the Empire, but what they're traveling around in, I believe it's the Death Star.
Star Wars is one of my sort of pop culture blind spots, but one of the perks of having a 9-year-old son who enjoys The Mandalorian is we've been watching some of these old ones, and the 2 words capitalized in Star Wars Episode 4 are Death Star.
Now, was your son as bored by the first 40 minutes of Star Wars as I was?
He falls asleep like 20 minutes in.
Yeah, I did too
every
the first time. Yeah.
And
robots walking around the desert for 20 minutes. Then they get captured. Then 20 minutes of that. And then Luke whining for another 20 minutes.
No, I was just going to say, like, I seriously, like, prior to probably 2 months ago, I hadn't sat through one of the Star Wars start to finish. And it's sort of been interesting to watch them. I kind of think I thought Rogue One was actually the best one of the bunch. Probably the most exciting. Or Empire Strikes Back, I suppose.
My viewpoint does not represent the views of Triviality Podcast.
All right. Well, round 1, question 9. The category is money. Appearing at various times on the $2, $5, $10, $20, $50, and $1,000 bill, who has been depicted on more denominations of U.S. currency than any individual since the beginning of the Civil War?
You're the currency man. I think you would know better than I would.
That's my guess.
That's better than I would come up with, yeah.
We'll lock in.
Initial thought was Jefferson.
Jefferson's definitely on the 2.
But there's chaos on the back of the 2 because there's a ton of dudes on the back of the 2.
Depends
That
which
is true.
version you're looking at. That would be after 1976.
Okay, Smarty Pants. Let us answer this question.
It's.
I would just guess Jefferson because I just don't know otherwise.
Yeah.
Well, I know Jeff pulled up the lyrics to Destiny's Child's Bills, Bills, Bills because they talk about this extensively. Jeff?
Yeah, we know they put Washington on a bunch of stuff, but we think the answer is Madison.
No points going out on that round. I think there's a musical regarding this fellow. It's Alexander Hamilton.
Yeah, he had something to do with the Treasury.
And the final question in round 1 is in sports. What legendary football coach won 3 national championships in the early 20th century at my alma mater, the University of Pittsburgh, but is now known best as the namesake of the largest youth football program in America?
I haven't the faintest.
Pop Warner?
Whatever you want to say.
I think it's Pop Warner.
We'll say that.
All right.
We also said Pop Warner.
And that's a good way to close the first round. Points going to both teams. It's Pop Warner. Good job.
Oh, man, we got some extra points there. I don't think we had a very high scoring first round, but we were very close on all of them.
All right, yeah, looks like you guys got 20 points. We had a little surge in the second half, and we are at 50.
As we throw it to David for the swing round, just wanted to say, David is a Dutch Enthusiast on Patreon. Erik is an Oakland 5 member on Patreon. We just got an email today that was really awesome from Patreon saying it is our 4th year anniversary of being on Patreon. So we couldn't have gotten to this point without your support throughout the years. We started with 1 patron that then became 2 after a couple months, that then became maybe around 10 after about 6 months or so. And then we've gotten bigger and bigger as the years have gone by, and it's through your support that we're able to continue to grow the show and to get better.
Well, Neal, I just want to wish you happy anniversary, happy Patreon anniversary. I did buy some sexy lingerie for later.
No whoopee tonight, Ken. I'm sorry.
Sad.
David, if you'd like to get the image of us in lingerie out of your head, feel free to tell us what the swing round is about today.
Yeah, let's get to that quickly. All right, so the swing round today is also a board game. I will give you 10 brief questions and clues, and each answer is also a well-known board game. So number 1, 2015 chart-topping hit for Justin Bieber. Number 2, 1999 comedy starring Eddie Murphy. Number 3, type of pie associated with the South, often in lemon or chocolate varieties. Number 4, former CNN debate show featuring a liberal and conservative pundit. Number 5, Agatha Christie play, which ran continuously from 1952 until 2020 in London's West End. Number 6, title role played by Lawrence's Olivier in Fishburne. Number 7, primarily Southern double drive-through fast food restaurant merged with Rally's in 1999. Number 8, 1996 action film, was the first ever commercially released on DVD. Original tagline was, "It sucks." Number 9, in 1980, became the second Philly to ever win the Kentucky Derby. Genuine blank. And finally, number 10, title of the 2003 memoir by Larry Kane, the only American reporter to travel with the Beatles during their landmark United States 1964 tour.
And we will come up with these answers.
We took it all. We brought them to our land. An endless night, ember hot and icy cold. The rage of the earth. We made this curse. Carved it in the blood on our backs. We did not see. We could not, but she did. And in the end...
What will I become? Senua's Saga. Hellblade 2.
Play it now with Game Pass.
Everyone knows therapy is great for solving problems, but getting therapy has its own problems too, like finding the right therapist, fitting into their schedule, and of course, the cost. Well, BetterHelp can solve those problems. It's totally online and built around your schedule. It's surprisingly affordable too. Connect with a credentialed therapist by phone, video, or online chat, all from the comfort of your home. Visit BetterHelp.com to learn more and save 10% on your first month. That's BetterHelp, H-E-L-P.
After some deliberation, we are back, and we are ready to find out what the answers to these questions are. I think we batted about 50%.
We feel pretty good about it. Jeff and I will talk about a skill that we unlocked in the deliberation that I think might put us over the top.
Well, let's see. All right, in the swing round, my first question was the 2015 chart-topping hit for Justin Bieber.
All right, we'll start on our side. This was a pure guess because we don't know Bieber songs. We said Candyland.
That could be a young Justin Bieber song. This is where we unlocked sort of our strategy. We were having a lot of trouble, and Jeff said, I don't think that these are, really obscure board games. Think of ones that everyone has in their house. And he kept naming a bunch, and then he landed on Sorry, and I said, that's a Justin Bieber song.
And that sure is a Justin Bieber song, and it's the answer to question 1. The answer was Sorry. Question 2, 1999 comedy starring Eddie Murphy.
We took a shot in the dark and went with Guess Who?
Same strategy. I rattled off a bunch of names and we landed on Life. Neal said that's a movie by Eddie Murphy.
I have not heard of it.
That's everyone's favorite genre of movies, prison comedies. It is Life. Question 3, type of pie associated with the South, often in lemon or chocolate varieties.
We had no idea on this one. We rattled off a bunch of game names and none of them fit, so we just made a disgusting pie with chocolate, lemon, and apples to apples.
Anytime I hear the word lemon and someone says pie, I immediately think meringue. I don't know if there is a chocolate meringue, but that's what we locked in with.
Pretty sure there's a chocolate meringue.
Is that a game, though?
We don't know.
Who knows?
If it is a game, it wasn't the game I was thinking of. I was thinking of lemon or chocolate chess pie.
Oh, I don't know if I've ever...
Is that with like the crosshatch on the top? Is that the...
Yeah, I think it's for the design
yeah. That makes sense.
So question 4, former CNN debate show featuring a liberal and conservative pundit.
This is back when Tucker Carlson still wore a bow tie. This is Crossfire.
Yeah, we couldn't pull that one, so our joke answer is Battleship.
Well, I think Erik picked up on that. I think there was a pretty infamous confrontation with him and Jon Stewart on that show, but the answer was Crossfire.
Well done.
Question 5, Agatha Christie play which ran continuously from 1952 until 2020 in London's West End.
Another one we have to thank Erik for. He said Mousetrap.
Yep, we were naming a bunch of Agatha Christie novels / plays, and when Mousetrap came up, we knew that as a game, so we locked in with Mousetrap.
Points to both teams. The answer was Mousetrap. Great job. Question 6, title role played by Lawrence's Olivier in Fishburne.
Pretty sure this one is A Minute to Learn, A Lifetime to Master, Othello.
Yeah, very shamefully, I happen to know that the portrayal of Laurence Olivier in Othello.
That is correct. The answer was Othello. Good job. Question 7, primarily Southern double drive-through fast food restaurant, merged with Rally's in 1999.
Yeah, I wasn't putting this one together. We were thinking about it. Erik said, what about Checkers? And then the memories of the seasoned fries came flooding back to me, and we think it's Checkers.
We agree. Used to have one not too far from us, and used to go there to just get the fries. So we locked in with Checkers.
Points to both teams again. Great job. The answer was Checkers.
Back in the day, those seasoned fries were such a treat, and then everybody got them, and now you could just get them wherever, you know.
That's true. Yeah, there's.
But when I was
seasoned fries,
when I was like
garlic
5,
seasoned fries.
when I was like 5, my mom would come home with the seasoned fries. I'd be like, "Mom, this is such a treat."
When you were 7.
All right. Question 8. 1996 action film was the first ever commercially released on DVD. Original tagline was, "It sucks."
I was a little lost in the woods, but Ken knew this called Twister.
Yep, we said that eats a twister. So we said Twister. Wrong movie reference, I know.
Well, you guys are both right. And fun fact, that was probably the first official date me and my now wife went on when I was in 10th grade. But the answer was Twister.
Wow.
So there you go. It was romantic. It was romantic. My mother-in-law, my now mother-in-law, came with us on the date. So that was back when that happened. So.
Oh, wow.
No shenanigans in the movie theater. So, all right. Swing round question 9. In 1980, became the second Philly to ever win the Kentucky Derby. Genuine blank.
It's a total guess on this one. We just think the word perfection fits in nicely there.
We did word association as well. We thought a cooler sounding name was Genuine Trouble, so we locked in with Trouble.
Those are both excellent names for horses, but the answer was Genuine Risk.
When you said it was the second Philly in 1980, I thought it was Mike Schmidt, but I didn't know a board game.
That's true. All right. Last question of the swing round, number 10. Title of the 2003 memoir by Larry Kane, the only American reporter to travel with the Beatles during their landmark U.S. 1964 tour.
We are hoping this is Ticket to Ride.
As are we. We said Ticket to Ride.
Points to both teams. That is correct. It is Ticket to Ride. Great job.
All right. After the swing round, both teams picked up a good amount of points. Sundays with Sufjan, that's our team, 80 points. Levitating with Lipa, 55 points.
Okay, let's get going in round 2. First question is in before and after. Give me the name of the cross promotion between the rock band who sang Shut Up and Dance and a classic Denny's breakfast sandwich.
Oh, we can lock in.
Okay, the band that did Shut Up and Dance was Walk the Moon.
Walk the Moons Over My Hammy.
All right.
And yeah, we had Walk the Moons Over My Hammy.
Well, points to both teams. That's a great job. The answer was Walk the Moons Over My Hammy. Okay, round 2, question 2. The category is game shows. What number do you get if you add the number of obstacles on a double dare obstacle course, plus the teams which begin the game in Legends of the Hidden Temple, and then add the contestants on a game of Guts? And as a bonus question,
Guts.
As a bonus question, prior to hosting Guts, Mike O'Malley hosted this Nickelodeon game show for 2 seasons. We'll say that's a 5-point bonus question.
All right, we have a guess.
All right, there's 3 contestants on Guts for sure. I think it's 5 or 6 on Legends.
That's where I am. I've been trying
6.
to remember all. I think it's 6, but
I think it's more than reasonable. It's more than a reasonable amount.
Purple Parrots were always the first ones out. That's all I remember.
Purple Parrots suck. And then Double Dare, I don't know on that one at all. Maybe 5 or 6 obstacles. All right, so let's say 6 there for Double Dare. 6 teams on Legends, and then 3. So that brings us to carry the 1, 15. I know, Jeff. I'm doing a bit here. Could you get off my
Get off my bit.
Get off my bit. Thank you. And I don't know about Mike O'Malley, honestly. He's on Yes Dear, but that's Yes Dear.
Ugh.
Yeah, and on our side here, I think our math might be wrong, but we had a very similar conversation. We said 6 for Double Dare. I think we missed one for Legends. We said 5, and then we said 3 for Guts for a total of 14.
Both teams came up a little bit short there. There are 8 obstacles on the Double Dare obstacle course, 6 teams on Legends of the Hidden Temple, and 3 contestants on Guts. The answer was 17. And the bonus question, which I'm not even sure Mike O'Malley would know, the answer was Get the Picture.
Oh, wow.
Get the Picture. Hosted that for 2 seasons before Guts. It was like a hidden picture type show.
So here's a little trivia for you, but I'm just going to tee it up here. If you were on Legends of the Hidden Temple and you could pick what team you're on based on the logo and the color, what would you pick, Ken?
Silver. I don't remember them.
Okay. So
the Barracudas.
Barracudas. Okay. Erik?
It's the Red Monkeys, was that right?
Green monkeys.
Green monkeys. What was red?
Red jaguars.
Red
That's the one I was
jaguars.
thinking of.
Silver snakes always seem cool.
Silver snakes for David.
That was the silver snakes.
Yeah.
Let me guess for Neal.
It wasn't actually the red jaguars because my favorite color is orange, so I always loved the orange iguanas. But here you go. So check this out.
So we're all enemies.
We're all enemies. Someone watched.
No purple parrots.
Someone watched every episode and did the math on who was the most successful. Over the series' 120 episode run, only 32 temple runs were completed successfully for a win rate of 26%. In terms of the ratio of number of temple runs won by the number of temple runs attempted, silver snakes were the winningest with 38% success rate. Green monkeys were a close second, followed by the purple parrots. The orange iguanas were statistically the worst team with a success rate of only 16%. The red jaguars were a little bit better, and then just short of average were the blue barracudas.
Okay.
Yeah. Crazy someone watched all
this. This has turned into a Legends of the Hidden Temple Sabre Metrics podcast.
That's true. Maybe Legends just needed Billy Bean the whole time, and it still would be around.
Snacking.
Just snacking. Yeah. Hey, what do you guys? What do you think about iguanas?
I think they should replace the giant talking head with Billy Bean. Brad Pitt snacking. No, it's just Brad Pitt snacking. Just
the mascot.
So you're gonna raid this temple basically. You got 3 pieces you need to recover. Okay.
It's like, hey, H and Brad Pitt, what's our next trivia question? Once on the set of Ocean's 12.
Okay, round 2, question 3. The category is sports. In 1978, the Barons, a National Hockey League team from this Midwestern U.S. city, became the last Big Four U.S. professional sports team to go out of business and cease operations entirely. Name the city.
Okay, maybe barons, like oil barons?
Yeah, would that be Midwestern? There's a Midwestern oil city?
Well, Houston is a huge oil city, and they're technically in the Midwest.
Are they really?
They're in the South, but they're in the Midwest.
Okay. I mean, if that's considered Midwest, then...
Unless you want to go with something like the Dubuque Barons.
I was thinking somewhere in Iowa, but I mean...
Well, then, if you like Iowa, we can go Dubuque.
Okay.
Dubuque it is.
Okay, my only thought here is that Wisconsin oddly does not have a team. They do have a minor league team called the Admirals in Milwaukee, so maybe it's Milwaukee.
Well, if we're going by states, there is a National Hockey League team in this state right now. It is the Columbus Blue Jackets. The answer is Cleveland.
Oh, that makes sense.
Let's do round 2, question 4. The category is laws. Texas State Highway 130 has the highest current posted speed limit in the United States. What is that speed limit?
I think I would say 90.
85, 90, yeah, somewhere around there.
All right, let's say 90.
I've definitely driven on Texas roads with a speed limit of 80, so we said 80.
Well, if you average your 2 answers, you get the correct answer. It's 85 miles per hour.
Darn it.
You wrote it down too, Jeff.
I did, yeah. So close is going to be the way this game goes, isn't it, for us?
Yeah, see, you do drive 85 all the time. It's just not posted.
Yeah, it's not technically legal.
What kind of car do you have again?
A black one.
Round 2, question 5. The category is box office. While the original Karate Kid never reached number 1 in the weekly United States box office, The Karate Kid Part 2 did debut at number 1, ironically dethroning this movie as the number 1 film, a comedy co-starring William Zabka.
Oh, hold on. Nobody move. Okay, I got it. We're locked in.
I sat so still for you, Neal.
Thank you.
All right, I have no clue. I don't know any movies besides Karate Kid with Billy Zabka in it.
Do you have any inclination as to what year it came out, just to try to narrow it on something?
Late 80s, early 90s, about Better Off Dead.
Sure, let's go for it. I got nothing.
At first, I was thinking of this one movie called Hot Dog the Movie, but I believe that's I think it's Charles McNaughton. No, not Charles McNaughton. I can't think of the guy's name. American Werewolf in London. Anyway, I don't know if this is correct, but we locked in with Summer School.
Oh, Neal, that's close. The answer is Back to School, starring Rodney Dangerfield.
I knew he was in a school movie. I couldn't remember which one it was.
Okay, round 2, question 6. The category is magazines. Lucille Ball has appeared on the most covers of TV Guide magazine. Which man, a television icon for decades, has appeared on the second most covers?
All right, we are going to go ahead and lock in here. It's kind of an educated guess.
So David was saying someone who lasted for decades, a career of decades. I almost want to say maybe Bob Newhart was on a lot. Maybe Johnny Carson, but he wasn't. It's not like it was a TV show. I'm just trying to think of like.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been kind of a TV guide kind of guy.
I'm just trying to think of must-see TV. Seinfeld wasn't around long enough. He was basically relevant for a decade as far as TV
Why
guides
won't they
concerned.
put me on the guide?
You're looking.
You'll be on the guide.
You're looking for somebody who's maybe like 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah. I like Bob Newhart. Everyone loves Bob Newhart.
It's impossible not to.
Okay, that's what we're looking with.
You were looking for somebody who lasted a long time, and we're talking about somebody who's still lasting, and that is Dick Van Dyke.
Both good guesses. The correct answer was said, but not officially guessed. The answer was Johnny Carson.
Oh,
really?
Man. I didn't even think of it. I figured he's a late night host. It wouldn't be on that many times.
How many times was it?
All right. Well, round 2, question 7. The category is finance. TD Bank, the 7th largest bank in the United States, is a subsidiary of a multinational bank headquartered in a foreign city, thus giving the bank the T in its name. Name the city.
I think I've got a beat on this one, Ken. Let me message you.
Hey, it's all you, man. It's all you. If I don't know, I don't know. So you take it away. We're locked in.
We're locked in.
Okay, so Tel Aviv. I'm just thinking of T-name cities.
Honestly, I remember seeing a bunch of TD banks when I was in Canada. So I wonder if it's Toronto.
Oh, that makes more sense.
But, well, because they have like the Royal Bank of Canada. They've got BMO, Bank of Montreal.
It makes sense because
Scotiabank. They only have like 6 banks in Canada.
Everyone loves their Timmy Hortons. They have donuts there. So Toronto Donut Bank.
Timmy Hortons is the food truck version of Tim Hortons.
Yeah.
I am a mess if I don't get my morning Timbits.
Yeah, I like Toronto. Let's go for it.
Okay.
Are Timbits Dunkin' Munchkins, basically?
Basically, yeah.
Except dirty. All right, so what did we say?
They didn't say Tim's Bits.
Yeah, I believe the TD stands for Toronto Dominion. So Toronto is our answer.
All right, well, points going to both teams. The answer was Toronto. Great job. Round 2, question 8. The category in restaurants. In which restaurant chain can you order the appetizer rattlesnake bites?
Jeez.
It's got to be one of 3. And I think I know the 3. So I'm going to write them down, and you're going to tell me. And one of them I know you're going to know that it is not, but I'm going to write it down anyway.
I'm going to write down the names of 3 steakhouses. I think that I do think that one, Eric. So let's go ahead with it. Yeah, we'll lock in. So which steakhouse are you picking?
All right, so the first one
that you're thinking of to ask me is it Texas Roadhouse?
Yes.
That would make sense, but I don't remember that being on the menu.
Okay, and then I'm thinking Outback. But I want to say I've had Outback recently.
Are there rattlesnakes in Australia?
I don't know. There's a lot of snakes.
There's a bunch of snakes.
But it doesn't really matter what's in Australia.
Because Americans don't care.
Yeah. My favorite thing about the Outback commercials.
Name it rattlesnake bites. Who gives a
Well, the fun thing.
These Americans will know.
They'll shove their faces.
The fun thing about the Outback commercials was that it had Jermaine Clement doing the voiceover, and he's from New Zealand.
Yeah.
And like no one probably knew. So yeah, I don't know if it's Outback. So I'm leaning Texas Roadhouse. And what's the other American fast food?
Well, we've got like Longhorn Steakhouse. You've got
Texas Roadhouse, and it's not ringing a bell. I've just had Outback like 2 weeks ago. I don't think rattlesnake is on it. I've never eaten at Longhorn, and it makes sense that it would be Longhorn.
I'm okay with that.
That's our answer.
All right, and we are going with a marketing mistake and saying it's Outback.
Well, once again, Levitating with Lipa said the right answer, didn't lock it in. I assume there are rattlesnakes in Texas. I know there are rattlesnake bites at Texas Roadhouse.
Made with real rattlesnake, or what are they, like jalapeno poppers?
I'm assuming jalapeno poppers.
I think that's what they are, yeah.
I feel like we let Stone Cold down.
I think we did too. And now I feel like, Jeff, I'm going to eat some rattlesnake bites, and you're going to have to suck the juices out of me in punishment.
I'm going to be eating crow if I don't get one of these answers right.
That's very unvegan.
All right, round 2, question 9, music. Which band was originally called the Salty Peppers, but was renamed in 1970 when drummer and founder Maurice White changed their name upon their move to Los Angeles? White picked the new name as a reference to not having any water elements in his astrological sign.
We can lock in.
I think this makes sense to be Earth, Wind, and Fire then.
Yeah,
water's the only one missing.
Yep. Sounds good to me.
Let's lock in with that. Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yeah, I believe the bodacious bass licks from Verdine White must have been his brother. So yeah, Maurice White, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
And points going to both teams. The answer was Earth, Wind, and Fire. Great job. And the final question of round 2, the category is baseball. Of the 29 current Major League Baseball franchises which have played in a World Series, who is the only team to have not won a single game?
Okay, if you have a thought, you can just run with it. I'm not a baseball guy.
All right, I'll lock in with it then.
Pirates, playing a little game theory. David is in Pittsburgh. He's wearing all Pittsburgh gear.
Could be the Pirates. The other one that came to mind, I don't think they ever made it, was the Padres. But
not even in the Tony Gwynn era. Do you want to go game theory and just say it's Pirates?
Sure.
Okay.
So they'll probably make it within the next couple of years, but I believe the San Diego Padres have only made it once. It was in 1998 and lost in a sweep to the New York Yankees. So we went with the San Diego Padres.
The Pittsburgh Pirates have won multiple World Series.
Oh.
I believe the San Diego Padres have made the World Series twice.
Okay.
The Seattle Mariners have never made a World Series. But the answer to this question was a team that got swept 4-0 by the Boston Red Sox. It is the Colorado Rockies.
That's right.
Oh, wow.
Why did I think the Rockies won one?
No, the Diamondbacks did.
Diamondbacks, yeah.
Yeah, the Rockies have only played in one World Series. They probably won't play in another one for a while.
And at the end of the second round, it looks like Sundays with Sufjan has 110. And Levitating with Lipa has 85. On to the final. What are the categories today?
Okay, and a call back to the halftime round if you can figure it out for your wagers. The categories in descending order: blue, pink, yellow, green, orange.
All right, and the wagers are locked in for the final round. Let's have the questions, please.
Okay, I think the team sort of figured out my hint for the categories here if they could remember the original Trivial Pursuit colors. So question 1, blue for geography. Founded in 1837, which major American southern city was originally named Terminus, as it was the 0 milepost of a new railroad? Later, this city was more commonly called Thrasherville, after pioneer John Thrasher. Name the city. Question 2, pink for entertainment. In 1994, Disney released its first ever direct-to-video film, a sequel to this popular movie. Question 3, yellow, history. Although the war neither started nor ended there, during the American Revolution, more military engagements occurred in this present-day state than any other, including 2 significant battles in its capital in 1776 and 1777. What is the state? Question 4, green, science. Which word is made by spelling across the chemical symbols for elements 17, 18, and 19 on the periodic table? This word is also the name of one of the first mass-produced candy bars in the United States, developed in Pittsburgh in 1917. Finally, number 5, orange, sports. Which NBA team has the highest all-time winning percentage for regular season games? As a hint, they play in the Western Conference, and they are not the Lakers, who are second best all-time. Name the team.
All right, we will be considering these questions, and we'll be right back. Okay, all the answers are now locked in. Seems like we probably didn't do so hot, but let's find out. Let's find out together, guys. Except for Matt.
Question 1 of the final round was in geography. Founded in 1837, which major American southern city was originally named Terminus, as it was the 0 milepost of a new railroad? Later, the city was more commonly called Thrasherville, after pioneer John Thrasher. Name the city.
Yeah, we were thinking originally for 10 points, maybe Atlanta because of the Atlanta Thrashers, but we kind of felt like it was a western city. Since we're talking about the railroad. Now I hear you say the 0 point of the railroad, so maybe it's Atlanta, but we guessed Dallas.
And for 20 points, we said Atlanta.
Well, Ken, you sort of got on Atlanta early because of the Atlanta Thrashers hockey team. The Thrasher in the Thrashers hockey team is actually named for a bird native to Atlanta. But coincidentally, that is also the answer to this question. It is Atlanta.
Shucks.
Sorry, Ken.
It's all right.
Question 2, Pink Entertainment. In 1994, Disney released its first ever direct-to-video film, animated film, a sequel to this popular movie.
For another 10 points, kind of just thinking about some of the crappy direct-to-video sequels. We thought the timing was kind of right for Little Mermaid 2.
Yep, we wagered 30 points on this one, going big on Pink. Jeff said, is it The Lion King? I said, no, The Lion King was released in 1994, which some consider the best year in film. I remember another sequel that was released, a lesser sequel in the Disney canon, and it has the same amount of syllables as today's subtitle, The Return of Fudor. We said it was Aladdin 2, The Return of Jafar.
Yeah, and Ken, I believe, remembered the bad Little Mermaid sequel and the bad Lion King sequel, but not the bad Aladdin sequel. It is Return of Jafar.
That one had the flying horses that were like black and were like super sleek looking. And
I don't remember it being too terrible, but I do remember Robin Williams not being in it, and that kind of ruins it.
Yeah.
Right. Question 3 of the final round, yellow for history. Although the war neither started nor ended there, during the American Revolution, more military engagements occurred in this present-day state than any other, including 2 significant battles in its capital in 1776 and 1777.
I was thinking that the capital city that you're talking about is the Battle of Trenton, where Washington crossed the Delaware to surprise the Hessians on Christmas, and we went with the beautiful Garden State, New Jersey.
Yeah, I totally forgot about the Battle of Trenton, but I feel like they had also a lot of engagements in Philadelphia. So we just guessed Pennsylvania for 10 points.
Well, Eric picked up on this one pretty early. It is New Jersey. Good job. Question 4, green science. Which word is made by spelling across the chemical symbols for elements 17, 18, and 19 on the periodic table? This word is also the name of one of the first mass-produced candy bars in the United States, developed in Pittsburgh in 1917.
For 10 points, couldn't quite get here. Eric knew his elements pretty well, and he located argon in that range, but couldn't really fit it in properly. We went with Mars, even though it's wrong.
This was a real team effort with Neal and I. Had argon right away for 18, and then I was pretty sure potassium, so after we had ARK, he said, what about Clark? And I went, oh yeah, chlorine. That makes perfect sense. So we locked in Clark.
It is Pittsburgh's own Clark bar. That is correct, Jeff. Good
Very
job.
nice.
Finally, question 5, orange sports. Which NBA team has the highest all-time winning percentage for regular season games? As a hint, they play in the Western Conference, and they are not the Lakers, who are the second best all-time.
For 10 points, we just did a toss-up here, and we went with the Warriors.
We wagered 10 points on this one. All the listening to the Benchwarmers trivia podcast, I think, is coming in handy. We named every team we could think of in the Western Conference, and then we realized one of the best coaches of all time, Popovich, coaches the San Antonio Spurs, and they're always dominant.
They've sort of been a sneaky 5th, 4th place dynasty for like 20 years. So
yeah, so we figured the numbers can't lie there. So we said the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, you sort of have to think of a team that really hasn't been bad in a long time, maybe really ever. With a 62% winning percentage all time, it's the San Antonio Spurs. Great job.
Well, the final determined the outcome of the game. Sundays with Sufjan was just a little too relaxed. We ended up with 80 points. And you guys are the cream of the crop today with 145, levitating with Lipa.
The cream of the crop! Nobody does it better.
that was not a guarantee. Neal and I had a terrible game.
Yeah, we had a really bad game. Luckily, the final went our way. I mean,
there was quite a few questions there where I was like, how does Erik know this? And I was very impressed. So
yes,
we feel very fortunate.
Worthy competitors, though. And as a consolation prize, you can all join us for a listening party of Dua Lipa's latest album.
I will not be in attendance.
Erik, thank you very much for joining us. As we said at the top, you helped influence the show and made it better, and we thank you for that. And also thank you for your Patreon support. But anyone you would like to shout out, any plugs, anything you would like to tell the people at home?
Thanks for doing everything you guys do. It's a fantastic podcast, and I'm proud to be a Patreon supporter. And so I guess Ken and I are just going to find the most depressing Sufjan Stevens record. I believe it's Carrie and Lowell, and we're going to go cry in a corner now.
That's right.
Jeff and I will bring the tissues, and maybe we'll give a good cry. We could all use a good cry after the time we've all had. So, thank you very much for joining us again. And David, we've said thank you a million times for your Patreon support, and we will continue to say thank you a million times. But any shout-outs, last words after this incredible game that you wrote for us today?
Quick shout out to my family trivia game. We do sort of a Zoom call on Sunday nights, and they play tested some of these questions, and that was a big help. And then, again, anybody listening to this, please just support the show. It's a great show. And it's really rewarding to sort of be a member and a contributor to it, and maybe have multiple Patreon memberships like I do unknowingly, and you get even more pleasure for supporting this show. So I can only encourage that. But thank you guys for having me again. I look forward to continuing to be on. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for coming back. This is fun.
Yep.
Yeah, and we do encourage all of our Patreon listeners to double enroll in Patreon.
Well, speaking of double enrolling, the only way I believe we can repay you is if there ever is an open invitation to join Family Trivia Night on Zoom. One of us at least I would. I'll pop in and play poorly on one of your teams.
Anytime, Neal. That would be awesome.
Awesome.
It.
Well, thank you very much to Erik and David for joining us today, and all of our patrons and listeners in general who help support the show and spread the word and continually listen to some of our dumb answers and some of our lucky victories as we had today. But for Matt, who is still trying out the community theater production, Jeff, Ken, Erik, and David, my name is Neal.
And David a second time.
My name is Neal, and that was Triviality.
We used to do some light gambling on guts.
In our younger years.
Not much younger, though. Like our early 20s.
You do know that was
20s,
almost more than a decade ago.
It was half our life ago.
Not quite. And this is the good content that gets cut, so...